You all right, Bud?
Yeah, I'm all right. They only got one eye. I still got one left.
Good morning, slaves, and welcome to part 2 of Ground Noise and Static. By now, you probably thought, wait a minute. Where's my motherfucking eye? Thanks. Okay, so you suckers thought that we were just going to grill the Republicans and let the Democrats off the hook, didn't you? My selector, rewind that shit. Our team of video ninjas went to Denver for the same reasons we covered the protests in St. Police. There is a resistance movement growing throughout the land and all around the world. A movement that is bigger than elections. A movement that broadly unites people across diversity of class, social, political, economic, racial, and gender lines. A movement that in the spirit of the St. Paul principles can live with its many differences, because we are all united against a common enemy. Because we know there is something fundamentally wrong, and even suicidal as a species, with the corporate vision of the future. So the movement went to Denver, just like St. Paul, to proclaim mutiny, to stand and to be counted on the side of the better world that is possible.
When things like this happening, somebody better recreate some struggle. Our immigrant sisters and brothers are being rounded up by the thousands, dragged out like slaves, dragged out of plants and factories, out of their home, thrown in prison. Some of them are dying in prison for lack of medical attention, deported. Some of them are being beaten to death, lynched. Somebody better recreate some struggle. Somebody better recreate some militancy, some unity.
What occupation do we oppose? What war do we oppose? All war? Any war? This war? That war? How about the war that's right here in occupied Denver?
With the DNC coming to town, it's like Santa Claus has dropped off gifts for the Denver Police Department, only these gifts are in the form of new riot shields, new security cameras, and gas canisters to use on protesters.
Have you noticed that with all this talk of stopping terrorists and bin Laden and all that stuff, and all this militarization and homeland security, that it all comes down to the government's guns pointing at us?
This is what happens in a Nazi country, not what happens in America. You can't even walk down the street without them coming out with their war gear on.
You're in charge, and you're instructing these officers to hold me here until you guys cut loose with some gas. Under what freaking authority?
Well, it ain't no doubt that some peeps who were righteously interested in bumping chests with Republicans skipped Denver, really to avoid making the Democrats mad. It is safe to say that those who showed up in Denver, and there were lots of them, were clearly sick of the two-party corporate police state system.
When it came to the Constitution, the Democratic leadership showed us that aiding and abetting illegal spying on us was more important to them than protecting our civil liberties. When it came to war and occupation, the Democratic leadership showed us that financing an illegal and immoral war based on lies was more important to them than the people's desire for peace. And when the people, hurting from the financial mismanagement of this country, called for accountability for the crimes that have been committed against the people here, against the global community, against nature itself, the Democratic leadership took impeachment off the table.
Even greater use of clean coal technology.
We need to have clean coal technology.
And that's why we have to invest in clean coal technologies.
The DNC was also being billed as the greenest convention ever by the Dems, and a need to seriously confront green capitalism was seen as a necessary component to the protest.
One of the most prominent things that we see every day is this thing called greenwashing. And it's when corporations will try to say that they're a part of this environmental movement, and so, they're a part of this sustainable paradigm that we all want because we see how unsustainable our current lifestyles are. The problem with that is that these companies aren't part of our sustainable future. And the sooner that we realize that, the sooner that we're going to get rid of them, divest from these companies, let them die, and start building up something that's truly sustainable.
The clean coal lobby was out in force at the DNC, passing out fans and buttons touting the virtues of clean coal without even explaining what it is. Overall, the anti-green capitalism march was a success in causing a spectacle to counteract the Dems' green image and got into the heads of unsuspecting political tourists. This was a powerful victory as normal folks become disillusioned with the political system and look for real alternatives beyond what is offered by the Democratic leadership. One of the best indicators of how shaky things are for the rich is the role of Iraq vets against the war. Fresh back from the killing fields, these mutineers are driven by their own experiences to confront Democrats and Republicans alike.
I think people need to get out in the streets. I mean, I think it has to be a real movement. GIs have to stop fighting the war. That's how it ends. And they need the support. They need to see people in the streets that are supporting them so that, when they actually resist and when they go AWOL, that the people are there for them.
More and more vets, and now active duty military, are joining IVAW to stand and confront their masters. Ron Kovic, paralyzed Vietnam veteran, whose story is detailed in Oliver Stone's movie Born on the 4th of July, and who in real life rode his wheelchair to disrupt the Republican convention in 1972, never stood so tall as to when he wheeled out of this year's Democratic convention to stand with IVAW as they faced off the cops and their political handlers.
When I have to go inside of a cage to dissent, to question authority, is that the freedom that I sacrificed my body for? We are going to, in the next couple of days, we are going to find that freedom. We are going to allow the American people to know that we are not going to be silenced. That's what being an American is all about. We refuse to be silenced. They will not cage us. We will not go silently into this dark American night.
This was a photo op moment. Rank and filed, disciplined, silver bugle and all, standing against the masters of war. Here's how it all went down. Rage Against the Machine rocked out a free concert in front of thousands of fans. Immediately following the show, Rage instructed the crowd to march behind the vets to the Pepsi Center for 5 freaking miles. The plan worked, and about 10,000 amped up peeps walked towards the DNC in an unpermitted march.
We have come here to hold the Democratic Party accountable. We want to talk with Senator Obama. We do not want to hurt you. We don't want you to hurt us.
They stood in mutiny, and the cops, who would immediately attack a similar crowd led by other protest groups, punked out. At one point, the popos started suiting up, preparing for the order to attack. The vets stood unwavering, the crowd on edge. The authorities tried to stall, but the vets determinedly held their ground.
We are awaiting negotiations with Senator Obama. The Democratic Party. It's scared shitless right now.
Finally, the police blinked, and it felt like a decisive battle had been won.
The Veterans Liaison is coming out to set up a meeting to talk about when we can read our letter to the delegates.
Your voices have been heard. Senator Barack Obama is going to meet with us.
No doubt the ranks of IVAW will continue to grow with volunteers stepping up to the battle. Their actions reach those unreachable by other means, and by example, they call out on all Americans to exceed the limits to break ranks, to join the revolution. In conclusion, the Republican conventions of 2008 succeeded in bringing people from all around the country together and cementing strong bonds which will carry on beyond the conventions. See you in the streets.
They tried to use me, but I am not a tool. They tried to lie to me, but I would not be fooled. They tried to bribe me, but I could not be bought. And they tried to stop me, but I would not be stopped. 'Cause we